Hello, everyone, and welcome to MassBio's first town hall discussion of 2021. I think we have something over 100 folks registered for this event, which is a great turnout. I'm Chuck Wilson, chair of the MassBio Board of Directors, and I'll be your host for this afternoon. For 2021, we're doing things a little bit differently. We're using a new format for the MassBio Town Hall series, and we're going to be looking to do this on a sort of monthly cadence. We want these to be engaging and interactive for everyone across the MassBio membership, and so hopefully we'll continue to see you through this year. Going forwards, each month we'll have a different MassBio board member who will lead a discussion with a special guest who will provide their own unique perspective on the state of the life sciences industry in Massachusetts. And along those lines, today I'm joined by two guests, David Lucchino, co-founder, president, and CEO of Frequency Therapeutics, and maybe most importantly, immediately past chair of MassBio. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Chuck. Great to be here.
Great. And I'm also joined by Kendalle Burlin O'Connell, MassBio's president and COO. Great to have you here today, Kendalle.
Thank you so much, Chuck. I'm excited. We're going to have a great conversation.
Great. So I think there's a lot to discuss today, so let's just jump right into it. Starting with you, Kendalle. First of all, congratulations on your promotion to president and COO. It's a great way to start 2021. I think, as everyone knows, we're heading really into a new era at MassBio, given Bob Coughlin's decision to step down as CEO after 14 years of leading us forward. And I think over the last 12 years, you've really seen MassBio evolve as an organization and played an important role in really allowing us to make those changes happen. Especially as you sort of think about building the base of companies within the MassBio membership. And then also how we've engaged members more closely and been able to offer them more and more benefits as being part of the MassBio family. So on behalf of the entire MassBio board, we're really thrilled to have you leading the organization during the upcoming CEO transition. And we're really excited for you to continue on in the president role once a new CEO is selected. Your leadership over the last 12 years gives us every confidence that you'll be a great leader through this period in 2021 and beyond. So good luck.
Thank you so much, Chuck. I thank you to you and David and the whole board for trusting me to help lead the organization into this next chapter. And I really want to say thank you to the entire MassBio team. 2020 was a tough year, but I'm so proud of everything the team did. We were able to think creatively and work collaboratively to continue to bring all of our members that best in class program and content that they've come to expect from MassBio.
Great. So David, anything you want to add to that?
I would just say that, Kendall's just been a real force within MassBio for a long time and really partnering with Bob over the years and being a strong leader and building out an exceptional team around her, like any strong leader does. And, you could see that with the strong relationship we have with Thermo Fisher and others, and our ability to keep growing our membership. And so it's a real thrill for me as the immediate past chair to watch Kendall's leadership grow at an appropriate time. And really, thanks to Bob for, really, partnering with you and for the executive committee for really, I think, providing the pathway for you to develop and be a critical leader, not just in this interim period, but for years to come as the president of MassBio.
Thank you, David. We're going to miss Bob. I can't even put it into words. I've worked with Bob for 12 years here. But the great news is Bob really has left this organization in the strongest position it's ever been. I mean, to think that we were able to end 2020 with 1,400 member companies, that's the largest amount of members the organization has ever had. It's just truly incredible. And so many of those companies are early stage companies, and that's what we are so passionate about here at MassBio. So we're very well positioned.
Great. So maybe sort of on that note, Kendalle, and you sort of alluded to the fact that 2020 was a weird year that probably most people don't want to repeat. What do you see coming for MassBio in 2021?
Thanks, Chuck. I think we took a lot of the lessons learned from 2020, and we really tried to work very proactively to create a strong 2021. So first, I'll talk about one of our core deliverables, very important to our small to medium-sized members, is our MassBio Edge program. And for those of you who have been around MassBio for a long time, that's our purchasing consortium. It's just grown so incredibly over the years, and it is just a core deliverable. It's what those small to medium-sized companies really rely on us for. The team has done an amazing job growing the program, and within the next month or so, we've got some really exciting news that we're going to be sharing with the membership community about our partner, Thermo Fisher Scientific. And I think members are going to be excited because they'll continue to see even more of that great best-in-class customer service and incredible pricing that they've come to expect from Thermo Fisher. The team is actively working with many new suppliers to bring on agreements this year. We're going to continue to grow and expand the employee rewards program. And also, we're going to work very closely with our members to further entrench the Edge benefits program. So that's our healthcare and 401k program. So far, we've been seeing incredible savings from members that have signed on, and we know how important of a need this is to our members. So we really want to make sure the community understands this program and becomes engaged. Then when you think about our policy and advocacy work, I mean, we are really in the best position we've been in a long time. Think about how important our life science industry has been to this crisis. We have been the solution provider. And so we're looking forward to continuing to bring that momentum into this year. We know there'll be some challenges and the policy team is ready to tackle those. But I think for the first time, maybe ever, our legislators, our constituents, our community understands the impact and the importance of the life science industry in a way that they've never been able to necessarily understand before unless they were a patient. So we're going to continue to build on that momentum. And then another very important initiative, as everyone knows here, our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion program is going to remain a critically important focus point for the organization. Coming off of the great success we saw with the CEO pledge letter that was released in the summer of 2020, the team is working on a one-on-one basis with those companies that signed on to ensure they have the tools and resources to implement change within their companies. And that's something we're all very passionate about here at MassBio. Of course, our events, both our content-based events and our networking events, are one of our core deliverables that our members have come to know and love from MassBio. And transferring those to a virtual platform was certainly a challenge last year, but the team tries to be nimble and responsive to the needs of our members, and we've taken all of that feedback, and I'm so excited about the platform that we have to offer members this year. Of course, you can still expect those best-in-class speakers, but we also have really dynamic networking component to our platform that I think members will enjoy. And then lastly, and maybe what I'm most excited about because it launches officially next week under our Innovation Services suite of programs, is Partnering Week. And this is a brand new initiative, and the team's been working so hard around this program, and I think it's going to be very well received.
That's awesome, Kendall. I mean, I see a ton of different things going on. Could you, for those of us who aren't familiar with the Partnering Week initiative, could you provide a bit more color? And I think probably, understanding sort of the role MassBio has played in partnering, how is it going to work when most meetings are still sort of happening virtually?
Right, exactly, Chuck. So again, in the vein of being responsive to the needs and the feedback from our members, we were hearing from our early stage innovation community and also from our established biopharma community this need for partnering, and they really wanted MassBio to kick off the year with some positive momentum around partnering. So we knew it had to be done still in a virtual platform. For those familiar with our Pharma Day program, Partnering Week is essentially 4 consecutive consolidated Pharma Days. For those not familiar with our Pharma Day program, each day of Partnering Week will be hosted by a world-class biopharma company. In the mornings, they'll have a plenary session where they'll talk about their target therapeutic areas and their external innovation partnering strategy. And in the afternoon, there will be a series of one-on-one meetings with that sponsor company and our early stage innovation community. We're so excited about this. I think the response has been overwhelming from our members. And it's something that we're actually hoping to do throughout the year. So I'm just going to give it a little plug right now. If you register, you're able to attend all the plenary sessions throughout the week. And I want to thank our sponsors that signed on for this, this event with us. So thank you to Biogen, to J&J Innovation, EMD Serono, and Bigene. Thank you so much. And if you're a company that's interested in potentially sponsoring a future event, please reach out to the team at partnering@massbio.org. And if you're a early stage company that's interested in getting a one-on-one meeting, you can fill out an application on our website under the Innovation Services tab.
Cool. That sounds like an awesome program. Thanks for a great summary of everything that's going to be coming at MassBio in 2021. Looks like really an awesome year. Shifting gears a bit and sort of thinking outside MassBio, obviously the COVID-19 pandemic has been incredibly disruptive to society as a whole and has brought real tragedy and loss to a lot of people. In responding to the COVID challenge, though, I think the life sciences industry has created, I really think, a lot of hope and opportunity. And with all the successes that we've had, which now include new diagnostic tests, new antibody therapies, and obviously most recently new approved highly effective vaccines, I do think the reputation of our industry is really at an all-time high. And so given that, both Kendalle and David, what do you expect from the industry as a whole in 2021? Maybe Kendalle, do you want to get started?
Sure. Yeah. So Chuck, to your point, of course, we've got this positive momentum, and for the first time, really, society broadly is understanding the importance of the life science industry. And when you think about that in the lens of Massachusetts, we really truly are the state of possible. We played a major role in the success of the vaccines. I think we're going to continue to solidify our reputation and further demonstrate the value that life science brings to society. And then when you think about it from a ED&I perspective, again, this is going to continue to be a major focal point, obviously both at MassBio, but for the life science industry more broadly. With the rollout of the vaccine, it's critically important that this is done in an equitable way, and MassBio is continuing to have those conversations and champion for this. We understand that our minority communities were disproportionately impacted by the pandemic, and there's some apprehension about the vaccine. So we're having many internal conversations about this and looking to work with business leaders to open the dialogue and to help build confidence in the safety of the vaccine and the science around the vaccine, and bring forth diverse leaders from the life science industry to have that conversation. So in fact, we're going to be tackling that topic next month at our town hall.
Great. Maybe David, any thoughts on your side for 2021?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Kendalle brought up some great points. And if it wasn't, if it's not MassBio bringing these up then in our community, then who? And so MassBio's leadership is as important now as it's ever been, if not more important, dealing with, diversity and inclusion, being a leader for our overall industry. I mean, I think it's amazing for us that Moderna is now a household word, not just in the United States, but around the world. And that's just right across the street from where MassBio's headquarters is. And, the fact that they've done so well is just bodes well for what Massachusetts is going to be doing, I think, easily for the next decade or longer. And so I think people should understand that it's an amazing industry that we're working in. The other thing that MassBio has done, and speaking of amazing industries, is never forgetting the patient. And, Kendalle and Bob have really, focused on that, their last, 12 years of work and leadership here. Myself as a cancer survivor, Velcade is a drug that has been critical to my, my long-term health. And there's many other drugs that are produced here by, folks working in labs every day. And it's truly amazing, what the scientists that we partner with are able to do. And so MassBio being a champion for patients, being a champion for, diversity and inclusion, and really, but also understanding being a strong leader overall for our industry, for years and for the next decade or two to come is really, I think, what Kendall's leadership is set up to do, and I think what we'll do when we talk about bringing in a CEO to help lead the organization.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it is actually in many ways, sort of remarkable looking back on 2020, how just how disruptive COVID was to everything that was going on, and yet how what a strong year it was for biotech, not just for those companies that are focused on really treating and addressing the needs in COVID, but as an industry as a whole. I think the one thing that 2020 does sort of teach us is just how hard it is to make predictions. We never could have seen a global pandemic coming at the beginning of the year, and it completely changed, I think, the priorities at MassBio and many other places for the remainder of the year. Having said that, I personally think we are poised for a successful year. I think I'll try not to make this too partisan, but one thing we haven't really talked about yet is obviously the political environment, and with the coming regime change, I personally am encouraged by what I think is going to be a stronger role for science in setting policy. And it's great to see folks like Eric Lander, Francis Arnold being sort of really brought into the administration. For the first time, we'll have a scientific role in the cabinet to really focus on science and technology. And obviously both Eric and Francis know a lot about biotech. So I think this has to be a good thing for our industry, is really think about, how do we ensure continued public trust in science, which is really critical, I think, for us to have the impact that we're looking for. So obviously a lot more of the year to come forward. We'll see how everything sort of plays out. I do want to just sort of take a quick note and say that, if any folks in the audience have any questions, please feel free to type a comment at the bottom of your browser. And we'll try to work that into the discussion. We actually have the first question, and maybe I'll put it to both David and Kendalle. And the question is, any comments or thoughts about how we think about prioritizing biotech workers for receiving the COVID vaccine? And as I think we know, as we reflect back again on sort of when the COVID pandemic hit, biotech was identified as an essential industry, given the importance of this work getting done, in particular to address the needs in COVID. So, Kendalle and David, any thoughts about thinking about vaccine distribution?
I'll just speak for the team here. Zach, Stanley, and the policy team, this is something that they are working on daily with our companies and our government officials to work to prioritize life science essential workers. So it's something that Zach is having, multiple conversations per day on. It's very important to us, and it's something that we are committed to working toward.
Great.
I would echo that. I think they, seem to have a reasonable, prioritization, but I think that, the biotech community continues to have a real impact, and not forgetting the role that, that we play relative to, the amount of people we need vaccinated. I think in the impact they could have is relatively reasonable.
Yeah. Great. Maybe I'm turning to you, David, now. Sort of, obviously you're now sort of in the immediate past chair role, having led MassBio through the last 2 years, taking us to towering new heights. From your perspective, why is MassBio such an important organization, and how do you see its role evolving?
I think there's been a real humanity, at the leadership level in MassBio, both at the board and with, Bob and Kendalle, and, putting patients first, looking to connect to disparate organizations and groups, not just thinking of it as sort of elite scientists who, are off in a room somewhere or a lab somewhere, but it's actually the opposite. This is about helping people live longer lives, healthier lives. And we have these amazing, folks that work in it that are some of the most talented people in the world, and connecting them to the unmet clinical need in the patient. And I think, one example of what MassBio did really well the last few years is our program Project On-Ramp, where we partnered with Life Science Cares and then Travis McCready when he was running the Life Science Center, and the folks at Project, and the folks who are now running Project On-Ramp, is taking high performing students who come from disadvantaged backgrounds and connecting them to, great companies, Frequency, Biogen, AbbVie, and you name it. And so giving people a foot in the door that otherwise wouldn't get it, and showing that you don't need to have a special connection to anybody, but there's a group in the life sciences that really cares and will bend over backwards to help people who are doing amazing work academically but want to learn more about our industry. And Project On-Ramp, which now is run by Life Science Cares, has just been, I think, an example of how we've reached out to really bend and meet the needs of our community.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think as Kendalle, outlined earlier, I do think, continuing to focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion is just so important for us as an industry, MassBio as an organization. We really depend upon being able to draw upon, the best folks across all of society in order to really deliver on our mission. And I think that's something there's, very broad commitment to making sure continues. I think that has been part of the focus at MassBio for the last several years, and is going to be continuing as we move forward. Even with the leadership change and with Bob stepping down. David, maybe any thoughts about sort of Bob's impact over the last 14 years?
Well, Bob is an impact wherever he goes and whatever he does. But he leads with his heart, and he leads for patients. And part of the reason why Bob and I got along so well is his son is cystic fibrosis, and his work as a CF dad and as someone who helped bring a drug that's now allowing his son to live a longer, happier life. I mean, there's nothing more frightening for anybody who's confronted with a disease like cancer or CF, is thinking about the future and not knowing that you have something to help you sort of manage your disease. And I can't think of what that fear must have been like for Bob and his family. But now the fact that Vertex delivered something, and it's just an example of the passion that he has taken. And I think what came through is he wants to help everybody. And he did that through leading the organization in a way that always reached out to patients, and then building a great team around him. Even though Bob's a big personality, he always wanted great teammates around him, and he should be applauded for Kendalle and Zach and the rest of the MassBio team. So as he moves on to his journey, he leaves the organization in a really good position.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think obviously, he has really been the driving force behind MassBio as an organization for 14 years, and over that time has seen this sort of ecosystem grow from about 300 companies up to now over 1,400, and really become the place for doing life sciences. What I personally will really remember is just his incredible passion and energy for the mission, especially as you were sort of indicating, David, around advocating for patient needs and getting access to really innovative life-saving treatments. And you sort of get the feeling like once he gets going on something, he's just a freight train. He's an unstoppable force, but he carries you along with his enthusiasm. So I think we all really wish Bob the best in his next role. And to further your point, David, I think one of the things I'm really sort of focused on, sort of thinking about, is sustainability of this cluster. We've grown so much. How do we continue to sort of keep this the place where innovation happens? And I think similarly, though, Bob has really thought about sustainability of MassBio as an organization. He's built a really strong team around him, with Kendalle, poised really to sort of continue to sort of drive the organization forward. And so, as you said, really leaving MassBio in a very good place to be. I do want to just spend a little bit sort of talking about finding the next Bob. Obviously this is a very important for MassBio. And so, while his departure is a loss, it's also an opportunity to truly try and find who is that next person who's going to take MassBio through the next phase of our evolution. I think we're really going to be looking for a visionary leader who can make sure that happens over really sort of a longer term. Just from a process perspective, we're putting together a search committee comprised of MassBio board members that really reflects the diversity of our community. We will be retaining a nationally recognized search firm to facilitate the search, work together with the search committee to both define the search profile and engage potential candidates. What I can say is that given the strength of the organization, the impact of the organization, we've already had a number of folks sort of looking to sort of put their hat into the ring. And so while I can't commit to a specific timeline, I think we're going to be working in a very diligent way to make sure we find the right next good leader for MassBio, and fully confident that'll happen. We do have one quick question from the audience, which really relates to messaging. And so just quickly, any thoughts on public communication messaging around separating the biopharma industry from the health insurance industry to maintain the recent positive public perception? And I think maybe just sort of stepping back for a second, I do feel like over the last many years, there really has been a failure to appreciate the real value that biopharma can bring to patients. And that messaging is critical to ensure that we can continue to sort of deliver on that mission. So maybe Kendalle, you could just sort of comment briefly in terms of how is MassBio looking at policy and messaging?
Yeah, I think, and it's always been very core to us, but to lead with the patient. That's why this industry does what it does. At the end of the day, it's for the patient. And I guess when you think about this past year, we were all patients in some sense. There was an unmet medical need that we were all experiencing. So I do think that this situation was horrible, but it did provide this light for us to shine on the incredible work that our industry is doing. And when it's done in a concentrated way, it's spectacular and it can happen quickly, but it needs everyone to come together and to support the science. And then it can be really, truly life-changing for patients. David, you probably have some additional perspective on that, being a patient yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we do, in the biotech community is we're kind of where the rubber hits the road in terms of solutions that deliver value for patients. And the whole system's important, but without us delivering that, the insurance and then the PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers, are really sort of support cast, relative to what we're trying to do. So I just think it's important to always remind people where the value is, in this proposition, and we focus on getting that to patients in a reasonable and efficient way. And I think we've always supported that, but I think other entities have sometimes allowed for confusion to seep into that system, and so it becomes our responsibility to make sure that we do all we can to straighten that out.
Great. Thank you both, Kendalle and David, for your thoughts today. We've got, I think, 1 minute left. Just very quickly, to both of you, what makes you most excited about what's coming up this year? What are you most looking forward to this year?
Chuck, I don't think my response is going to be different than everyone else in the world, but I am so looking forward to that moment when we can have in-person events again. And when you think about it, I'm here from the MassBio Hub, and we moved into this space on March 6th, basically 1 week before everything shut down. And the MassBio Hub was meant to be a place of congregation, a place of networking, conversation, thought, science. And it's been really quiet here. So I can't wait this space is bustling with MassBio members and employees, and we're networking at our events. That's going to be what's most exciting to me. And I'm hoping we can see that, at least some elements of that, the second half of this year.
Great. I would just echo that for everyone watching, that when we get back to a normal cadence, there's a place for all MassBio members to go in Kendalle Square. It's a beautiful facility. You don't need a reservation for just to show up and have a conversation or grab something to drink. You do need a reservation to use specific rooms, but it's really meant for members to just do what Kendalle said, is congregate, share ideas, and have a place to sort of go to when you're in Kendalle Square, other than the coffee shop or a restaurant.
Great. Well, thank you again, both. That's all, unfortunately, all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank the audience for tuning in to our first town hall of 2021. Be sure to visit massbio.org for all of the upcoming events. I think coming up on January 27th, we have one of the first events of the year, which is the policy breakfast. And to the earlier question about messaging, I think that will be a key part of the discussion at the policy breakfast. So hopefully we'll see many of you there. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Chuck. Thank you, David.
Thanks all.